Valve just dropped one of the biggest hardware updates we've seen from them in years. A new Steam machine, a new Steam controller, and a new VR headset called the Steam Frame. And right as all of the news hit, the internet immediately asked the age-old question. Is this finally the moment Valve launches a new Half-Life game? The timing has everyone buzzing. There are references to something called Project White Sands, mentions of a codename HLX inside Source 2, and even strings in the engine that line up suspiciously well with Half-Life lore. And Valve has released games with their hardware releases before, Aperture Desk Job with the Steam Deck, and Half-Life Alyx with the Valve Index. But, Half-Life 3 rumors have been around forever, and Valve has already confirmed that Episode 3 never left pre-production. But how much of what's come out is real, and how much of that is just a dead end as per usual? Today, I'm going in deep. The leaks, the technical hints, the strategic timing with Valve's new hardware, and why some people think this is the closest we've ever been to a real Half-Life announcement in a very long time. The spark that started a lot of these conversations came from something surprisingly mundane, a voice actor resume. According to the resume, a credited actor listed work under a Valve project titled Project White Sands. Now, White Sands isn't just a random name, it's a real place in New Mexico, the same state where Black Mesa is located in the Half-Life universe. Then, the data mining community stepped in. People digging through Source 2, including Tyler McVicker, found references to a project named HLX. Inside those files were mentions of HEV suit module logic, enemy AI strings referencing Zen gorillas, Zen jellyfish, and pentatanks. These aren't random variables you just toss into a tech demo. They look like actual gameplay systems. For a lot of people, this was the tipping point, the difference between a fun theory and something that actually looks like a game under development. The plot thickens with Valve's recent hardware announcement. Valve has said they aren't releasing a new VR game with the Steam Frame, but people find this wording a bit suspect. It is a bit strange to release the Steam Machine and Steam Frame, which are built-in PCs, without a new game to really push it. This is why so many people think the timing is a little too perfect. Project codenames, data-mined Half-Life references, and now their biggest hardware launch? For some, it all lines up a little too neatly. Here's where the more hardcore tech evidence comes in. Some people combing through the engine found entities that sound like performance upscaling systems. That kind of work typically shows up later in development. Once you have basic systems working, then you optimize. There were also references to scripted physics events and animation nodes for alien creatures, which could mean the team is building real gameplay logic, not just placeholder functions. Internally, some of the build labels tied to HLX reportedly linked to files that were actively updated as recently as late 2024. That doesn't guarantee a finished product, but it does suggest active development, not just an abandoned prototype. But here's the catch. Engine code is a wild mixture. Active features, abandoned tests, and dev tools all live in the same realm. Valve in particular is known for building ambitious projects and scrapping or reworking them. So, while these technical leaks feel robust, they're not confirmation. They're more like strong fingerprints, evidence someone's working on something significant. Now, while all of that sounds cool and exciting, we do have to slow down and look at the reasons to stay skeptical. The most obvious one? Valve hasn't officially said anything about a Half-Life game being tied to this hardware reveal. Their hardware intro focused on specs and design. No announcements for any games. And of course, they already stated no VR game is being developed. So, we aren't getting another Half-Life Alyx. All we've got instead are just leaks and data mines. Things we aren't supposed to be seeing. And codenames don't always mean there's a new game. White Sands or HLX could refer to experimental builds, engine tests, narrative prototypes, or anything really. Valve has a long history of ambitious internal projects that never see the light of day. So, while the puzzle pieces align, none of them confirm the picture we hope to see. If you want to follow this without going fully into the hype, watch for real legal breadcrumbs. Things like store listings, official trademarks, ESRB, or PEGI filings. But also executive build updates on SteamDB also work. Look at reports that are based on multiple independently confirmed sources, not just one leak or a Twitter screenshot. Until something official shows up, treat this as compelling speculation, not a guarantee. I know, we've all been here before. Half-Life 3 is real, isn't real. This back and forth has been going on for nearly 20 years. So, here's where I land. I think something is really happening. The leaks are too detailed, the timing with Valve's hardware is too on the nose, and the engine references are specific enough that it's hard to dismiss. But I'm not ready to call it Half-Life 3 at launch yet. Valve might be billing HLX or White Sands as a serious internal project, or they might be saving it for a later big reveal. Either way, this does feel like the closest we've ever been to real Half-Life news in years. But what do you think? Is HLX or Project White Sands actually Half-Life 3? Or just another Valve experiment that may or may not ship? Drop your thoughts in the comments down below. If you like this breakdown, hit like and subscribe, and thanks for watching. I'll see you all later.